What is up, you guys? Brian the Beekeeping Realtor, and today we're going to be checking on all our bees across a couple different locations, mostly here in Hidden Valley and Ojai. So today we're in the early spring. My main goal is just to make sure all the bees have space, kind of get checked up on everybody after the storm, and just, you know, more or less see how everyone's doing and make sure that everyone's growing like they should in the springtime. Let's get started. All right, so whenever I go through my beehives, I always like going through the ones that don't necessarily look like they're doing good first, because we don't want to get everyone upset until the very end if we can help it. So this first beehive doesn't look like it has much going on. Woo, they're here. Look at that. So let's see what we got. So the main thing we're looking for is to make sure the bees have space. This is a small colony. It's probably gonna be the smallest one in the yard. I didn't even think there was gonna be bees here, for being honest. So let's just check to make sure everybody's happy, everybody's good, and then we'll get it all closed back up. Typically within the hive, you're going to have honey on the outermost frames and babies within the innermost. So like on this frame, if there's any honey, it's probably on this frame. Can't even tell with the light. Yeah, nothing here. They're starting to work on some honey a little bit. We have some eggs, so mama's around somewhere, but they're pretty hungry. They don't have much in terms of food stores, and they have an old queen cell here. So they made a queen not too long ago in the middle of all these storms, which would explain why they're so small. They probably have a brand new baby queen. I do see eggs. We do have more eggs, so mama's laying pretty good. We're nice and small. So something happened in the rainstorm. They lost their, oh, there she is actually. Mama queen's right here. So something happened in the rainstorm. They lost their old queen. They made a brand new one, and they're getting started again. And mama is laying, everyone's happy. They're a little hungry, but I'm not gonna feed them because there's flowers everywhere. There's plenty for them to get, so I'm not overly concerned about them starving right now. And that's our first hive, and let's take a look at all the rest. All right, this looks like it's probably the biggest beehive in the yard. This beehive is actually interesting. It's all volunteer bees. We actually, most of these bees here are all bees that came from just random swarms that moved in. We mostly just had boxes here that kind of took off and did really well. So in this box, again, it's looking pretty small, only about 3 or 4 frames of bees. One thing I am gonna do to them really quick is I am gonna tighten this down because it's not, the frames aren't close and tight to each other for whatever reason. And past that, again, we're not worried about them having space, we're not worried about food, or we're not worried about mites right now. So we're gonna let this guy rest, and that's gonna be it for now. What is up? Now we're at my second yard out here at Hidden Valley. This is gonna be one of our main yards for dropping off rescue beehives. Some are grumpy, some are not. We actually have one back here that's it's pretty nasty that we'll take a look at. But again, same thing, we're just gonna take a look, see if anyone needs space, see what's going on. Let's get started. So one of our big problems with, you know, being a beehive on a hill is that sometimes the entrance gets blocked. Like right now, we're kind of landslid in. So we gotta dig this guy out and go through all the rest of our hives. So again, we got a solid, give or take, 3 frames of bees. 1, 2, and some change on either side. So these bees don't need much, but they definitely need their entrance dug out. So we'll close these girls back up, let them do their thing, and give them some space. Nobody? We lost him?
Nope.
All right.
Oh, there's a lizard.
A lizard?
It's a skink.
Oh, yeah.
He's just chilling.
Well,
that's a pretty big guy.
Unfortunately, he's getting evicted. I don't know how well they can see it on camera. But,
Big buddy.
let's see if they see him come out. No? So we get all kinds of cool critters in our beehives. Like this guy, it's a skink. Let's see.
Better than Mr. Mouse.
There he is. I have a love-hate relationship with these guys. They love to run up my pants, and when they run up my pants, they look like a snake, and I usually freak out. But Yeah, we have all kinds of cool life going on in the beehive, but unfortunately, no bees. So what the heck happened? Well, we're coming out of fall, and almost always when we lose bees this time of year, it's almost always varroa mites. Almost always.
No,
so,
don't go into the beehive.
It went a new one?
Oh God.
It just ran into that beehive?
Yeah.
Well,
well, that's nature.
We'll see what happens. But for now, yeah, so we lose a lot of bees. It's typically to varroa. It's super common. We lose probably half of our colonies, give or take, this time of year. And now that we're in spring, the bees should start growing. We should start being able to do really cool stuff here in just a minute and get our population back up. So again, another problem we have is that as the plants grow, they tend to grow real well around the entrance of the beehives, and they tend to block the entrance. So we got to clear that out. So now let's pop that lid open, take a look at what's going on. These bees are actually pretty aggressive, and yeah, it's a full box of bees. So unfortunately, despite it being aggressive, we need to box under it, and we'll deal with the consequences of that later. Typically when it's a big beehive, we don't want to add boxes because we don't want to let them have more babies and give us more problems. But if we don't put a box under it this time of year, then they will almost certainly swarm out, and that's even worse for the environment, for people, everyone else. So we're gonna put a box under these guys so they have enough room to lay, enough room to do their thing. But you know, as we opened it and took a look, there are wall-to-wall bees here, and they're kind of runny, so they're definitely a little, I don't know if they're African or not, but they're definitely a little bit spicy. When we look at it from the bottom, it's pretty full too. Normally we look at our beehives from the bottom, so that definitely needs a box. So last two hives and then we'll get out of here. So this beehive here has, we just brought it in last night from a customer's home. They said it's very aggressive. They said it's Africanized. No idea if it's actually Africanized or not, but we do know that it's aggressive. So we're going to take a look at what we brought into our yard, and we know it's probably never been treated. We know it's probably, we know it's aggressive. So let's crack this open, see what we got in these boxes, and see what we've kind of brought into our bee yard. We get this all the time. People that want us to take the bees, we always charge for it. Customers always ask why. It's because it's always a mess. It's always a lot of work. So let's see what we got. So what we have here is a beehive we brought in from a customer's house. They didn't want it anymore because they were too aggressive. So as we opened this up from the top, they didn't have enough frames in it. You're supposed to have 10 frames. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so the bees did this with all the extra space. So now for us to fix this beehive, we have to rip out all this stuff that is not, that's not right, and put in a lot of work to get this beehive on the right track. So now we're gonna go through that. Alright, now we're going to get a couple frames, fill this up, put it back together. So we got our box, it's about the same size, I think it's the exact same size. So these frames should fit, they're perfect. There's nothing on them, but that's okay, we can start from scratch. And we're good to go, and on to the next yard. And last but not least, we're out here in Ojai on the oranges. First of all, look how beautiful the oranges and this orchard is just in general. But right here next to the bees, I've only had this location for about a year, and I can't get over how cool this creek is. Let me turn this around for you. I can't get over how cool this is. So by far, this is my favorite bee yard. No questions. So let's see how good these bees are looking. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, just like the other yards, we got about 3 frames of bees. Normally I'd shake them off, but we've got some grass here at the entrance. Let's take a second real quick. We got some honey coming in. So again, another yard of very small bees, but they got food. They got everything they need in life, and they have a waterfront property. So first of all, we gotta get all these plants out of the way so these poor girls can get in and out. Are you alive? Anybody home? Ah,
Empty.
empty. Oh, full of water again. So again, I think these lids really betrayed us. I think that we lost a bunch in this storm because of these lids not being waterproof. Another couple frames of bees, nothing too crazy. They don't need space yet. Hey look, there's our queen. She's got a dot and everything. So there's a lot of different types of bees. Here at Brian's Bees, we mostly run carniolan colonies. They stay very, very small over the winter and grow. Typically, this time of year, we expect to see a lot of growth and expect to see them getting pretty big. But these storms really set them back. So, you know, them being small is a bummer, but not too concerning. But this is what we want to see. And look, there's no water in the feeder. So, you know, this lid, even though it's the exact same type, seemed to keep the water out versus these other ones didn't. So, you know, I think it's gonna be our #1 problem in this yard is that we need to get new lids in all these hives. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do because we bought all these lids new, or I'm sorry, bought all these lids used. So on a box like this, a big metal lid won't fit because this bar is resting the same height as the box. Versus like on this box, there's a gap. I don't know if you can kind of see it, but the good lids will fit better on this box because the handle's lower. So I think we're gonna have to make some modifications and definitely put boxes on these beehives right. We're gonna give these guys some space. So they can keep growing. Oh wow. Wow. They really stuck it on there, but they're not as big as I was expecting. So when I'm looking at them from the top, I'm seeing they're on this frame, this frame, this frame, this frame, this frame. So again, about half the box. They have plenty of space. I'm not too worried about them. Again, about 3 or 4 frames of bees. So, you know, for springtime, we're doing, I mean, we got live bees, that's okay, but we really do want to see some more growth. I'd love to have seen these all needing boxes by this time of year. So these ones in particular, I'm going to go through because they don't feel right. They don't, as I got them open, they're buzzing kind of weird. So I'm a little bit concerned for their health just on the way they sound. Turns out it's for no good reason. These bees are wonderful. We have full frames of babies. They are super healthy. So this box isn't currently dying for space, but they have full frames of babies out here to here. So this box is about to absolutely explode with babies. So we're gonna give them some space. All right, now we got our apprentice Carson going through some beehives. Let's see how he does. Hey, look at that.
Very nice.
So again, it's kind of, you know, the more I see like this, the less I care. I do get a little bit concerned about all these ants. Don't love those. But it seems like, don't worry about going through it.
All right.
So we already know that they don't need space. We already know they don't need food because everything, you're gonna burn us all down.
The save was clutch though.
So we already know, why are you pushing from that side? We already know that these bees don't need space. We already know they don't need food. It seems like our carniolan bees are just, they're just taking a little longer to get going this year. So we can put that lid back. Is anybody home? Looks like there might not be any bees in this one.
Looks like there's one frame, maybe two.
There's a couple bees.
Yeah.
It's pretty light.
Inspection or?
Put her on back. Look, we got carniolans. We know that our bees are going to be small, and based on what we've seen from everybody here so far, it's average, right?
Yeah.
So for carniolan bees, which is what we keep, seems like right now all our carniolans are 2 or 3 frames. They haven't really figured out spring yet. So, you know, if it's 2 or 3 frames, that's normal.
Oh, these guys look decent.
So again, 2 or 3 frames, it's about good.
Alright. Good stuff.
And last one.
Final contestant.
Nobody home?
Just the ants.
Just the ants. So we are losing some beehives. Any water in the, no water in the feeder. We just lost them. It's empty, man, I can see it. And last but certainly not least, our tree hive here. Looks like it's still hanging in there. Looks pretty small if it's still there. There's only a couple bees going in and out. But this is our neighborhood feral hive. It was here before we before we even came out here, brought our bees out here. So it's been here quite a long time. So right now that puts us at right around 25 hives. Granted, we rescue a lot more than that, but most of our staff actually keep the bees, and those are different yards we're not going through in this video because that's a whole different process to work with bee rescue hives. So the goal for these guys is to, first of all, pollinate all these wonderful orchards that we stay on, and to also have a population to sell packages and nukes to people throughout the year. So, you know, overall, with 25 hives right now, we should be able to hit around 80 to 100 hives by the end of the year, and sell hives to folks that want to get started in backyard beekeeping. So join us on that adventure as we go through a full beekeeping year. We're gonna do this every 2 weeks, and hopefully on alternating weeks we will be posting bee removals. So if you want to see some cool bee content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.